Okay, well, good afternoon, everybody. I will call this meeting to order. I'll start with the land acknowledgement. The Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority respectfully acknowledges that the land on which we gather is situated within the traditional and treaty territory of the Mississaugas and Chippewas of the Anishinaabe, known today as the Williams Treaties First Nation. Our work on these lands acknowledges their resilience and their longstanding contribution to the area. We are thankful for the opportunity to live, learn, and share with mutual respect and appreciation. So next I will ask for disclosure of pecuniary interest. None were received prior to the meeting, and I see none. Next is the minutes of the last meeting of May 15th, 2025, and they were attached. Can I have a mover and a seconder for those? Moved by Adam. Seconded by Mark. Any discussion about the meeting minutes? Ask all in favor. And that is carried unanimously. Next is the adoption of the agenda for today. A mover and a seconder for that. Moved by Joan, seconded by Margaret. Any discussion about the minutes? I'll call all in favor. And that is also carried unanimously. Delegations, we have none. Presentations, we have none. Correspondence, first was the press release, Ontario taking action to make conservation authorities more effective. I'll ask for moving a second.
But we can just do those both at once
together.
file.
Okay, perfect. So, and then the next is the Ministry of Environment, Conservation and Parks, re-conclusion of agricultural sector appointment, which is Bruce Butter. Any discussion on those?
Just a question, it was Bruce Butter, but it will again be Bruce Butter?
Go ahead.
If you can answer it.
I believe it is no longer an appointment for the Conservation Authority.
Oh,
So they will not be replacing him.
So through you, Madam Chair, there were only 6 agricultural representatives among the 36. Only 6 conservation authorities had a representative by the previous ministry, and so they have now said that as of effective June 30th, those terms have been concluded, and they will no longer, because they paid the per diem, they paid all the expenses. We did not.
given our location, is this something that the Conservation Authority has discussed and wishes to act differently on? Like to have? I guess it's a ministry appointment.
Right.
But are there other advisory committees which the Conservation Authority receives input on agricultural related matters?
Through you, we personally don't have any ad hoc committees on for this Conservation Authority. But this was never our appointment. It was always, as I've said, it was actually Minister Piccini when he was in conservation, the Minister of Conservation and Parks. So he did those appointments, and now because that ministry has gone through, we went back to Minister of Natural Resources, and then we are now back with the MECP. So.
May I follow up with it? Is there sort of like an exit interview with Mr. Butter to get an idea of what his experience and if he has any final thoughts, recommendations? Is that something that the Conservation Authority could ask?
Through you, because he was not our appointment, I don't think the proper procedure is probably that Ganaraska would do that exit interview. I would think if there was to be one, and I don't know the ministry's process, I would think it would be them that would want to learn about that experience as to, because it was benefiting that ministry.
Thank you. I guess, so I guess if there was a concern, I guess we would need to, or an individual need to contact that minister and express an interest in continuing with that position, I guess.
And the reason I'm asking these questions is because of the state of our Northumberland County, the area of jurisdiction of the GRCA, pressures, development pressures, et cetera, and concerns by local agricultural people with regards to protection of agricultural lands, all of that big picture. So that's the main background of my ask.
I think there is an opportunity, sort of, a separate opportunity where the Northumberland Federation of Agriculture does a poly-ag tour every year, and I believe, have they formally invited the Conservation Authority?
No.
Okay, so that is an opportunity. I'm sure that is an opportunity that they would explore. So that gives one opportunity to connect with the rural community or agricultural community, I would say. And if I could always forward that request, I attend it every year and it's great. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, any other discussion on either of these items? Yes, we still need a mover and a seconder for both correspondence collectively. Moved by Joe,
Aye.
seconded by Willie.
Yes.
All in favor? And that is carried
Yes.
unanimously. Next is the applications under Ontario Regulation 16806, permits approved by the executive, and the schedule was attached. Is there, I guess I'll ask for mover and a seconder for that one first. Moved by Mark. Seconded by Adam. Any discussion on the applications? Miriam?
Well, just a general question, if I may. If there is a permit to remove material from a site, whatever construction, dredging, is there a requirement to report as a condition of the permit where that removed material goes, where it's tested? My reason for asking is some years ago, I recall there was fill being brought into a quarry, Clarington, was it? It was causing issues with groundwater wells, that scenario. So is there a sort of a general response? Like, is there an obligation of the Conservation Authority to follow up?
Through you, Madam Chair, when we get an application for any kind of fill or grading activities that are going on within our jurisdiction, we do ask every time where the material is going to be going. We don't want to have the material leave one place and result in a violation elsewhere.
Right.
And we don't know necessarily if it's moving out of our jurisdiction. So for instance, if there's a permit issued in Cloca and then it's coming into our jurisdiction, we may not know that, and it's incumbent upon the landowner to obtain any necessary authorization for the placement of that material if it does fall within a regulated area. In terms of testing, GRCA is not involved in the testing of material.
Thank you.
Any other questions about the permits? Willie?
If I can. Yeah, the one, it's 2507-06/25, June 19th, multiple Durham conduit water course. Now, blanket permit, whereas when I see other ones that are within Clarington, there's permits issued for different areas. Could they have purchased, I should applied for a blanket permit?
Through you, Madam Chair, the Conservation Authority issued a blanket permit for those projects that we deem to be low risk.
Okay.
So not specifically crossing, for instance, Wilmot Creek or Foster Creek, the main branches. These are areas that are regulated, but maybe the smaller order water courses, they would still require a permit, but would not necessarily have the same level of scrutiny that would otherwise be necessary for the more major crossings.
Right. Okay, no, appreciate, because there is a lot of, as it says, installation of conduits and vaults right across Clarington, and certainly what I see in Newcastle, certainly in Bougainville. But thank you.
Any other questions about the permits? Okay, I'll ask all in favor. And that is also carried unanimously. Moving on to committee reports, Ganaraska Forest Recreational User Committee. minutes. Mover and a seconder for those. Moved by Joan. Seconded by Adam. Is there any discussion about those minutes? I see Joan first.
Oh, hi, through you, Madam Chair. I just have a question about the rescheduling of the June 5th meeting. Did that all get sorted out? It looked like, my words, a bit of a kerfluffle.
Some good words. So yes, that has been sorted out, and that is one of the reasons why, Lance came forward with, the conversation that he had at the opening of that meeting. Any other questions? Miriam?
Yeah, Madam Chair, through you, under, item, page 3, just a curiosity, there's a sentence at the end of the page under trail maintenance and volunteer programs, questioning the policy of not authorizing volunteers to use, motorized leaf blowers within the central forest. I am aware there's health concerns, et cetera, with gas-powered motor on leaf blowers but I'm not sure if the same concern is with electric blowers, or am I missing the whole point here?
Ed is on to answer. I could probably answer, but Ed is probably
Best person?
best to
Okay.
answer the rationale.
Hello, the purpose behind that, or the intent behind that statement, is in line with the electric motor portion and fuel and gasoline motor portion of the non-motorized use in the central forest rules.
Okay.
Answers your question? Any other questions or comments? So I just want to sort of make it known that Bob Gallagher, who is the chair, will be coming and providing his annual report within the next couple of committee meetings. So if we have any questions for Bob regarding the RUC or recreational use in the forest, just keep that in mind, that you have that opportunity in the next meeting or two to ask him some more specific questions. Okay, so if there's no more discussion on that one, I'll ask for all in favor. And that is carried unanimous as well. Here, I'm losing my place, new business. So we'll do each one of these one at a time, right?
Yes, please.
Okay, so number 1 is the updated employment policy. We have a mover and a seconder on for this for discussion. Moved by Margaret, seconded by anyone? Mark. Okay, any questions or comments regarding this report? Adam's making a face here, but it doesn't look like he wants to talk about it. Okay, so I will ask all in favor. That is carried unanimously.
This is why you're supposed to be off.
Next is Cobra Conservation Area Update. Would you like to speak about it
Yes.
first? Okay.
Yes, please. Thank you. Through you, Madam Chair. So in between the time of the agenda going out, I did receive a phone call from the town of Coburg in response to the staff report, which they had seen. So I was requested to come down to a meeting yesterday, which I attended with several of their staff. And the what I have requested was that, and because of the precedent that, as we've all said during previous reports, if the Conservation Authority is subjected to stormwater management fees, and that happened across our watershed, and it happened across 36 conservation authorities in the province of Ontario, it would be very costly. To the Ganaraska, if it came in at the original fee, it would be over $1.8 million. So even though they reduced it to $93, I did explain that it's not the fact of the monies. It is the fact that our conservation areas are in the floodplain. They act as a sponge. They actually feed the creeks that they are near or feed the groundwater, certainly. So I did ask that if we were going to look at the maintenance agreement and it to remain in place, then we would want a exemption to be placed on the bylaw that pertains to the stormwater management fees. Currently, the school boards are on that. And I've asked that all lands owned by the Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority within the municipality, and it is only the Cobourg Conservation Area, but all lands be exempt from stormwater management fees. So they have a special meeting, not special because of, but they have a meeting next Tuesday afternoon, and they are going to revisit this. And so they asked if we could just give them that time to revisit this.
Okay, so first, I guess I'll ask for a mover and a seconder so we could start talking about that.
So
I could move.
for a second, or move, if you wish for me to move or to second, but is just deferring to the next board meeting. Is that the
Okay,
intention?
so you want to defer this to the next board meeting, okay.
And I'll second that.
Second that, okay, and is there any discussion? So we got a deferral from Miriam and a seconder to the next meeting, which will give time for this discussion to come to Cobourg Council. Is there any further discussion on that? Okay, so then it looks like that's all good, so I'll ask all in favor of the deferral. Okay, and that is carried unanimously. Next is the Garden Hill Dam report. Do we have anybody that would like to?
Corey's
Corey,
going
can talk about
to,
it?
he's going to talk about it, and he has a brief presentation as well.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have prepared a brief presentation just to give the board an update on some of the things that we're seeing out at the Garden Hill Dam. Can everyone see that okay?
No,
Can they see it?
no,
No?
Can't see it online?
They can't see it online.
Okay, so how do I fix that?
Did you share?
I've got to share.
You gotta share the screen. You didn't share the screen?
Yeah.
But,
Escape here and redo it.
yeah, escape, and then if you want to take this down, I can never.
Yeah, share first and then,
I'm gonna have to go. Can you see? Can you see where it is to share screen? It's under
yeah, it's the green one.
there. And there you go.
Okay, so
Click
just the
on that.
main,
Yeah,
that one there?
yes.
Okay. Share. Sorry, folks. All right, now I can make it full screen.
perfect.
Okay, can everyone see that?
Yes,
Okay, excellent. Okay. Yeah, I wanted to just share a few slides about the Garden Hill Dam. There's some issues of maintenance and repairs that we should just make you aware of. So just to cover some outline of the slides, I want to give a brief history of the dam, talk about ownership of structure and the outlet structure as well. Briefly touch on the dam inspection report that was done in 2023 and the recommendations that came out of that. Highlight a few priority items, talk about funding and funding history, and then looking to the future. So the Garden Hill Dam was constructed in 1959 on the North Ganaraska River. It was part of the construction actually of Northumberland County Road 9. They were done at the same time. And the box culvert that goes under the county road is in fact the outlet for the reservoir, but the structures, the outlet structure of the dam and the culvert are connected. The culvert's a good size. It's 12 meters by 12 meters, which is very large when it comes to culverts. And the original purpose of the reservoir was to manage flows in the North Ganaraska River, provide recreational opportunities for the adjacent conservation area, and provide habitat for wildlife. It's important to note that the reservoir is also a source of water for fire suppression in the the Garden Hill area. And there is a dry hydrant you can see here in the photo that you can access, or the fire department accesses off of Mill Street North on the east side of the reservoir. In terms of the ownership of the various components here, as mentioned, the control building and the outlet structure with all the stop logs is owned by GRCA. The county owns the concrete culvert underneath County Road 9. So in terms of maintenance, that just makes it a little more interesting, because the concrete in the culvert is in need of attention. It's probably the wing walls and other things are also in need of attention. So doing the work together, I think, makes a lot of sense. So the dam inspection report that was done in 2023, we completed that with a small amount of funding from the Water and Erosion Control Infrastructure Fund, or WECI as it's known. We retained a consultant to do that study and prepare a report. And the results of that were released in December of 2023. It included a number of recommendations, which we'll touch on. And it basically assessed not only the condition of the dam components, but it also assessed the risk of the components and the failure, the risk of failure of the various components. So the recommendations, and I'm not going to read through all of these. The highlights are that there's some apparent movement in the wing walls upstream of the culvert, which are in the GRCA property. We need to update our dam safety review, complete an update of our public safety risk assessment. We've been doing a good job of removing vegetation on the embankments. That's a requirement under the dam safety rules for Canada. So we've been doing that over the last few years, just in a gradual manner. And that's really important when it comes to inspections. You want to know if there's any seepage or leakage or movement. We've also relocated the shoreline anchors for the safety booms away from the opening of the outlet structure. And there's a number of other things that we'll touch on as well. And you can see the last one, it recommends replacing the deteriorating stop logs. And that's one of the main points of discussion for today. So in terms of cost or potential cost to GRCA, when you add up all the recommendations out of the report, it's in the ballpark of $253,000. There are some elements of that we can probably do internally to keep the cost down, which would bring it, in our view, closer to $200,000 if we were to do all the recommendations. So to point out a few specifics, so if you look at the image on the left, that's looking upstream into the reservoir, and that's the eastern wing wall. Right where the wing wall joins the main structure, you can see just how the concrete is spalled and fallen out of the joint. When you look at the other wing wall, the same thing's happening. So the main concern there is that if that continues down below the water line, water can potentially get into that crack and into the material behind the culvert, which can be problematic. So that's something that's...
I hate to interrupt, but I only have the one picture online. I don't know if the other ones are seeing something different, but
Oh,
yeah, we're not seeing what you're seeing or talking about, I don't think. We're only seeing the first picture.
Oh, okay. So let me, I will just
Okay,
do this, see if this,
that's the inspection report recommendation.
Yeah, you can put that.
yeah, so I will reshare here. Can you see, so you can see that? What about now, Mark?
All we see is a report dealing with the inspection report recommendations. There's no picture of the dam that you're.
Reshare. Okay.
Why don't you just put up the one, can they see that?
Yeah, that's it right there.
Show it
That's
to
it.
them there that way.
Okay.
okay, now I can see it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. So, yeah, so you can see the issues with the joint there at the wind wall and the structure. So here's just some photos of the condition of the concrete. This is the pier in between the two bays of the stop logs. You can just see how 66 years of flowing water has eaten away at the concrete.
Mhm.
That's a good question. The level of the water in these photos, is that the normal height?
No, the water level that's in these photos
Yes.
were taken during the dam inspection, and we dropped the water level down in 2023 to facilitate the inspection. Okay. So this next slide here shows the control building. We're looking west along County Road 9. One of the issues we've seen in this building is the south wall has started to deform. The sill plate or the board at the bottom of the wall, it has deteriorated and isn't providing enough structural support to the wall to keep it straight. And I think this is being impacted also by snow plowing. When the snow plow goes by and got wet, heavy snow crashing into the wall, it's weakened the wall. So that's a concern that we've raised with the county. And the other photo is just looking inside the control building. You can see some of the walls, how it's deformed and kind of bowed out or bowed out, I guess you would say. This image here, and I'm going to see if I go back to the full view, if you guys can see it now. Where is that? Because I do have a little video clip that I want you to be able to see. Is that coming up?
Yes, I can see the dam, the stop logs and everything.
Okay. So one of the main highlights here of our concerns and some of the recommendations of the report are that the stop logs are in pretty bad condition. For those of you at home, you're missing out on this beautiful display of old log here on the table in front of the members here.
I wondered what that was.
This is one of the logs we pulled out in 2023. We took that opportunity while the water level was down to replace 7 logs on both sides. Some of these logs are the original logs from 1959. So you can just see how much wear there is over the course of 66 years, and you just lose a lot of material just because of the flowing water. I think some of it actually dissolves into the water. We brought another block, which you can see beside it, which is the size of the log when it goes in.
Wow.
So you can just see how much the log shrinks and deteriorates over time. So, and also you can't see it for the folks at home, but there's brackets on the log that we use to connect to raise and lower the logs with the apparatus in the building. And in some cases, it's really difficult to hang on to those old logs because it doesn't connect well with the brackets, but also as the log gets smaller, it doesn't fit well into the gains at the side, the metal parts where the logs go up and down. So it makes it very difficult. Plus, with this much wear, there's a lot of leakage, and that's the point of this slide is we've seen within the last 2 years, the original stop logs toward the bottom of the dam have deteriorated, they're leaking, and we really do need to replace them soon. At the current rate of deterioration, we're concerned that the logs aren't going to be able to maintain the water level in the reservoir. And I do have a little video here. Hopefully this plays. You can just get a sense of over the 2 years, how much leakage has progressed. So that video was just taken about 3 weeks ago. And you can see the new logs at the top are performing well, but the ones at the bottom are leaking like a sieve, so. And then there's, yeah, other issues in the culvert that we're discussing with the county. So if I go to the next slide. One of the big challenges that we're facing is, funding to maintain the dam structures.
We're still at the stop log sign. Is that where you are? There you go.
Okay, let me try this again.
We're at the challenges.
Okay, so what I wanted to point out here is that previous to the cuts in the mid-90s, conservation authorities had received provincial funding to support not only our flood forecasting and warning program, but also some of our capital projects, including maintenance of dams, flood control channels, etc. So in '97, this funding was cut significantly. And if you look at the blue line on the graph there, that's the provincial funding that we get. So in '96, I think we had about 350,000. In '97, it dropped to 100,000, and then with the cuts that we experienced in 2019, that was cut by 50% again. So we now get $51,000, $863 from the province. So that's just important to understand the history there, and that things are a lot different than they were a few decades ago. So I'm on to the next slide. Are you guys at home able to see that?
No.
Not yet.
No, so you're gonna have to go out and go back.
Okay.
Okay,
So something that's been very helpful is M&R has the Water and Erosion Control Infrastructure Program, or WECI. And it's a program, a capital cost share program with municipalities to provide matched funding to conservation authorities for major maintenance or related studies of these types of structures. So this has kind of replaced the previous funding that conservation authorities have. There's about $5 million that gets shared amongst 36 conservation authorities, and the priority projects get reviewed and approved by the WECI committee. And so 50% of the dollars would be local dollars from municipal partners. And then if the application is successful, the other 50% would come from the province through this program. So without this, we would not be able to do any work.
Well,
Okay, next slide. I will make this work. So part of the issue here is the logistics for replacing stop logs is very challenging. There's no emergency valve or valve you can operate for maintenance. So in 2023, we removed 7 of the 19 logs per side. For us to replace the logs right down to the bottom, we would essentially have to drain the reservoir temporarily.
wow.
It would be beneficial if we're going to this effort of drawing the water level down, that we do some other things while we can see the wing walls and the concrete and the gains at the edges of the each of the sluiceways. We'd have to implement mitigation measures to try and protect the aquatic life, as well as prevent 66 years of sediment from flushing downstream. And I will try to. Next slide. So can you guys see this next one, the side view of the dam outlet structure?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So this is one of the drawings from the design of the dam structure. So you can see the flow direction on the right-hand side, that's the reservoir. Flow comes towards the outlet structure, goes over those 19 stop logs and out through the culvert. So I just wanted to point out the normal water level in the blue line there. When we did the 2023 drawdown, that's the 7 boards, but for us to do the rest of the work, we've got to draw it right down to the bottom. So that's just a significant undertaking and has a big impact to the pond, and I know the community would raise some concerns, so we'd have to be very mindful of that and communicate well.
This might be a strange question, but all the sea works that go on around the world, is it a matter of cost to look at technology that actually is a temporary holding it somewhere behind this so that you're not having to drain or it drains to the side or something? I imagine it's a money issue, but I'm just thinking
Yep.
of the incredible sea works that are done.
Yeah, like certainly floating in a barge and putting in sheet piles. That's something to consider, but you're probably looking at $200,000-300,000 to do
Yes,
that.
okay, cost.
We could do something on a smaller scale, and we've already explored the use of aqua dams, so you can get them in various heights. We put an aqua dam across in front of that the opening, so we could at least maintain a refuge pool for aquatic life. But you'd have to pump the stream flow over the dam and into the culvert to maintain water flow for downstream fish. So there's a lot of logistics we have to consider and manage those issues appropriately. Yeah. Okay, I just want to make sure you guys can see this. So, looking to the future, maintaining the dam and the reservoir, we're not going to lie, it's going to require significant investment, not only now, but we'll need ongoing support into the future to do that. This will require support of the municipality of Port Hope, just because the dam is in that municipality. If support's not available, we'll need to consider other long-term options in order to effectively manage risk associated with the dam. This could include or would include decommissioning of the reservoir as one of the options we need to talk about and consider. And any future options that we look at in terms of a long-term plan would have to go through a Class EA process so that there's proper public consultation and we look at cost benefit and all those things. And we have reached out to town staff, but like any municipality, things are tight, and they felt that at this point they can't support
15 minutes.
yeah,
And
funding this work at this time. They recommended that we approach council with a special ask just to highlight the concerns and the risks that we're facing. So we're certainly prepared to do that, but I just wanted the board to be aware of what we're dealing with here. And I think that was it. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. So I have a number of questions and comments, but I will open it up to others first and see Mark.
Yep. If I could, Corey, what exactly are you going to be asking Port Hope for? Is it financial support, or is it support to get funding, or what exactly are we asking them?
Through you, Madam Chair, the conversations we've had to date, Mark, are that we've said we'd like to deal with some of the immediate needs, but also have some conversations about, doing additional work if possible while the water levels are down. And the bottom line would be, looking at over a 2-year period, having a commitment of municipal support that we can then in the spring make an application to the WECI fund to leverage those local dollars for 50% provincial dollars. And one of the challenges here as well is that the WECI program used to be every year, but they were finding that certain projects, 1 year wasn't enough time to get contractors, get a project out for bids, secure the contractor, and then have the work done. So they have changed it that it's every 2 years. So if we miss this coming spring window, we've got to wait another 2 years.
Okay.
Clarify that question. So you cannot apply for the WECI application if you don't have the local municipality support.
That's correct.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions?
If I may, we still have this, in front of us here. I can't see anybody.
Sure.
And if you could just refresh my memory as well, through you, Madam Chair, when you hope to start this project? I know you're at the start of it, but in a perfect world.
Through you, Madam Chair. I guess in a perfect world, to change the stop logs, we'd like to do that next summer. But I put the caveat on that we had a conversation, actually a really good meeting with the county last Friday. Just about the recommendations of the report and how they apply to the county structure. They are actually lining up this structure for either repair or replacement in the near future. So we need to have further conversations about the scope of that and what their intentions are, because it would make a lot of sense to I think to ourselves to work together and release the work through one contract. It's just that if we're involving the county structure, it would potentially be a scenario where perhaps if we're successful in the funding application, the design work gets done next year and the construction would follow in the next, I guess it would be 2027.
Okay.
We would have to limp along and keep the dam from draining, but that may be something we can do just with some temporary measures.
Okay, any other comments or questions? Willie?
If I can, and again, thank you for the presentation. I'm lucky enough to have the slideshow on my computer here. Now, could you give me an idea of the long-term effects if we go to decommissioning of the reservoir?
Through you, Madam Chair, certainly. The long-term effects would be, I guess there'd be a number. There'd be the local community impacts. Like Port Oak Fire would have to find an alternate source for fire suppression. The local community I know is very emotionally attached to Garden Hill Dam and the reservoir. Our own CAO had birthday parties there as a child, so that's important to put in the minutes. But
Thanks, Corey.
people are very attached to this structure and just what it means to them, so I think there's that cultural piece. In terms of environmental, there are a lot of benefits to habitat by having this structure that gets used significantly by waterfowl. You also have shorebirds coming by in the fall as we're drawing down the water levels. They're walking through the mud and picking out food for their journey south. There's a tremendous amount of turtles and frogs. So if decommissioning were to be considered, I think some of those impacts would have to be mitigated in some way. And I think also on the environmental side, if you were to remove all the logs, perhaps we could get fish passage back into this reach. Because right now the dam is a barrier to fish passage. So it could be a combination of removing the stop logs, building a rocky ramp in the culvert to allow fish passage, and then maybe constructing offline ponds to maintain some of that waterfowl and aquatic habitat value that exists today. So that might even also solve the issue of maintaining enough water for a dry hydrant on one of the offline ponds. So to do that properly, it would have to go through an EA process. So you're hearing what the public concerns and interests are. But that study in itself is going to cost some money. And I think decommissioning is also covered through WECI applications. So that's something to be aware of and to consider as well.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. Certainly lots to think about. And if we were to go ahead and not only replace the stop logs, but do the gives us the opportunity to repair the wing walls and that. Just ballpark, what would you think the cost would be?
Through you, Madam Chair. Well, the 253,000 that I quoted there, that's recommendations out of the report just for GRCA.
Right?
It had very rough kind of order of magnitude costs for repair of the concrete. So I would think to look at an EA and construction, we're probably, you know, above that and into the 300s. So, but if that's spread out over a number of years, it's more manageable. And I think you'd want to stage how you drew down the water levels anyway, so that, you know, the vegetation can come in phases and you're stabilizing some of that historic sediment that's in the reservoir.
That sounds like Randy.
I'll go grab it.
I don't know.
It's probably locked. Could be Randy.
Someone who knows we're in this room.
Yeah, I'm thinking, yeah.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions. Sorry, Willie, did you have?
Oh, no. Nope, that's good. Thank you very much. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Okay, so a couple of questions. We have people in Garden Hill who are related to other matters, are concerned about their well water levels and so on. Does this pond being a reservoir at this point, and then if it were drained, could it impact local well water levels? Or are they unrelated?
So through you, Madam Chair, I guess local wells, I would anticipate are installed to a depth that's deeper than the reservoir.
Okay.
So my high level impression is that it wouldn't be an issue. Because the fluctuations within the reservoir would be in the shallow, like, superficial aquifer. Most wells are drilled into confined aquifers, which, if you think of a layer of a cake, you'd have the shallow aquifer, a layer of clay, and then you would have another deeper aquifer, which is safer because it's not in contact with the surface. So most wells are drilled into that deeper confined aquifer and aren't impacted by those surface fluctuations.
Okay, perfect, thanks. So a couple other questions. If this was drained, would the conservation area even qualify as conservation area anymore with the loss of the whole ecology in the area?
So through you, Madam Chair, I think it would qualify as a conservation area. It's just I guess some of the activities would change. Like if we get fish passage, perhaps there's angling opportunities that weren't there before. You might even get, you know, jumping fish at key locations, depending on how you stabilize that natural channel. So I think, you know, it would still be considered a conservation area. It's just it evolves, I guess, in how it's used.
And the last question, so I don't know if everybody knows, but we did have a private dam break up in Garden Hill this year that caused a lot of concern for people in the area. So is there a risk that this could full out break? And if we didn't take action, either as the municipality as well as the Conservation Authority, what would be the risk of it breaking full out and the cost of that?
Through you, Madam Chair, there is a risk of water going downstream in an uncontrolled manner. We've put a lot of effort in this summer and fall. I guess it's not fall yet, but this summer in looking at the boards using an underwater camera. My main concern was, given the level of deterioration, are they still structurally robust? And from what we're seeing, if you look at the boards, a lot of the I guess deterioration is around the edges. So I've got a level of satisfaction that we're not gonna have the boards breaking and a big gush of water, but the gaps between some of these boards are in the order of an inch. And if we can't plug that, for lack of a better term, yeah, the water level will drain down. We just can't maintain a water level. So I'm not as concerned about a sudden big release. There's always that potential, but I think it's low given what I've seen from the underwater footage. In terms of cost, yeah, I don't know if I could speculate on that. I think it'd be pretty low given our current situation, but if it's left to go further, the risk level increases and I think the costs would increase as well, so. And I don't want to be the third dam in 5 years to fail, so.
Yeah, in the local area, yeah. Mark,
Yeah, just one quick question, Corey. Could the design be changed so that the boards that are there now remain intact until the new boards are put in, so that you would have these boards in place and then your new boards could be in a different location so that they could take over? Is that been looked at or thought about? I hope I'm explaining that right.
Are you referring to just
I'm saying, could you not put a new wall in and leave these ones in place until once the new wall's in, then these ones could be removed? Could anything like that be explored or done?
like put in a new wall upstream of the stop
Yeah,
log?
in a different location so that, and you could use your new wall as your new dam. Uh, Could that be done or not? Or has that been looked at or thought about?
Potentially. Yeah, I guess it's something, it'd be something, I guess, to look at as a possible option. It's just the construction of that new wall would require that the reservoir be drained for the construction.
Well, I was thinking, could you not leave that, your new wall, you'd put your new boards in, could you not start them at the bottom and then go from there up and leave your old wall there to help so that you could do that or not? It's just,
in the middle of downstream, on the other side of the culvert.
On the other side of
that's what
on the other side of the wall.
I'm thinking of a different location, yeah.
Well, could you do it on the other side of the wall?
Downstream side? I don't know if you could, like the culvert, are you thinking on say, for example, Mark, the downstream side of the culvert?
Yes. I'm just thinking that, there must be a way that we could leave those intact while you build another wall at some point, in some location that,
Mhm.
and then pull these ones out as you need afterwards, but.
Potentially, but I think going into the culvert might cause other issues because you need that capacity in the culvert during spring
Okay.
floods and large events. So we couldn't take away any capacity of that culvert. In doing this. Because
Okay.
yeah, that's a major road and we'd have to be very mindful of that. We have bounced around the idea of if we were to put new boards in, putting valves at like maybe making a set of 4 aluminum stop logs and having a valve in the aluminum logs to allow cooler water and some sediment to flush out to the downstream reach as well, which would normally happen if there wasn't a dam there. So that was an option we've talked about. So yeah, there's other things we can consider, but I think it all boils down to what kind of resources are available to study this.
So thank you for all the questions. So my concern at this point is the community being informed of this as well as Port Hope Council. And that we get this in a way that is as formative as we have all heard today. So my preference would be that this presentation either comes to council as you have presented to us, or at least come as correspondence so that it can be shared with the community as well through our put on as correspondence to our agenda. Have you had that discussion with Port Hope staff about coming to do a delegation, or was that something that this committee would have to make that a motion to refer it to Port Hope?
Through you, Madam Chair, we have discussed it. I was reaching out to them just to see at the staff level, would there be support and capacity within the budget to support this? And given their other commitments and obligations, they felt they couldn't at a staff level, but they recommended the best option or the best path in their view would be to bring it as a special ask of council. So present to council and just inform them with this information.
Yeah, so my fear is that, not fear, but I know what our budget packages look like, and I don't want it to be a page amongst other things. I think council needs to be very informed, and I think the community needs to be very informed, because as you said, they're very protective of this pond. The private pond that drained this year, which is private, caused a lot of conversation and upset. So I think it is something that really does need to come forward to this level of detail to the community and to council. So I'm just not sure, do we need to make that referral, or is that something your confident staff will accommodate if you just say we want to come?
Yeah, through you, Madam Chair, I'm confident that if I made the request, I think I could get on the agenda. In terms of resolutions to support that, you know, I'm in your hands if you'd want to add some text to reinforce the importance of doing that. I'm happy to have that in there.
The other option is just to refer this report to Port Hope, the municipality of Port Hope. And then we could bring it up as correspondence, and if there is no action, the council can then make a motion during our meeting to invite you to come and direct staff to invite you to come. So that's another option to help move it along.
And through you,
This is the current motion that's on, that could be.
So it says, so the current motion that the Ganaraska Region Conservation Authority receives the staff report regarding the Garden Hill Dam for information, and further that staff be directed to seek sources of matching funding to support number 2026.
2026.
2026 WECI application for dam maintenance and repairs. So then we could potentially amend that to say, and refer this report to the municipality of Port Hope as correspondence. Is there anybody who would like to amend that? I would, Adam?
Well, actually, I'd actually prefer a presentation to our council from yourself, so that we could actually ask questions as well. So I would like to change that language a little bit so that it's making a presentation to the council, not just refer this.
So direct staff to
Yeah,
make
to
a
direct staff to make presentation before budget.
Okay.
Okay, we'll add that in. And that'll be part of seeking, because we're seeking matching funding
Yeah.
from the municipality of Port Hope. And
Yes.
there's, yeah.
Randy?
Yeah, not to this motion, but would it be helpful to you Port Hope folks to have some of us from the board at that presentation, just in the audience or something? Would that be helpful to you at all, do you think?
Well, yes, but we are currently doing online presentation.
Oh,
Council,
all
we're
right.
updating our AV system, so everything we're doing is all our council meetings are online, so.
Didn't know that, sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you're always welcome to attend Port Hope council meetings, so it's always helpful. But...
Well, we don't get enough, do we?
Yeah. No, Port Hope actually sets that is the golden standard for citizen participation.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you. So would anybody like to second Adam's amendment to that to refer this? So we have Mark. Okay, any other discussion on this item? Willie, did you have your hand up?
Well, I was supporting the
Okay.
motion. Are we
The
voted
motion and
on
the
it?
amendment?
Yes.
It'll be in further that staff be directed to make a presentation to the municipality of Port Hope and further seek sources of matching funding to support a 2026 WECI application for dam maintenance and repairs.
Okay, did everybody hear that or?
Yes.
Yep.
The whole thing?
Yep.
Yeah. Everybody's good? Okay, so I'll call all in favor? And that is unanimous.
Could I just ask, when you're doing that, when it is going in front of Port Hope, you could just send a one-liner out to us?
Yes.
Sure.
Thank you.
Okay, so thank you for the discussion and thank you for the presentation. And actually, this is kind of delayed. We had a conversation earlier about Bruce. I just want to formally also thank Bruce for his
Yeah.
time on the GRCA. So totally after the
Yeah.
fact, but I just wanted to verbalize that as well.
And I did, through you, Chair, I did send a note to Bruce,
Mhm.
thanking him for his contribution, wishing him well.
Great, thank you. Okay, so moving along, next is the 2026 preliminary budget criteria. Oh, did I get a mover? Oh, you did.
You
I
did, you
okay,
got
yes.
Adam and Mark.
Okay, Adam, right. So this next item, a mover and a seconder for this one,
I'll move it.
Randy and seconded by Joan. Any discussion on this staff report?
Only that I like the 3% because Lower Trent is
They
a little higher.
were at.
We always are.
Should I just mention that in Coburg, it's a little bit of a different process this year? You probably have heard strong mayor power. And the mayor has retained a consultant to prepare a budget for the mayor. So, all to say, the coordination of any information, please check with town staff.
When, yes, so through you, we'll still follow our same process and maybe they'll
Okay.
reach out. So what will happen is, so the same process happens as we prepare the preliminary budget, comes into the October meeting.
Mhm.
Then, based on that, if it's approved for circulation, it's not approving the budget,
Mhm.
but it's approving the levy, and then that goes out for 30 days.
Yeah.
And so then, if the mayor wants to reach out but it'll go through your clerk is, I believe, who I send it. No, it goes through it goes through your CAO.
Tracy Rock.
Yeah, so that's who the letters are directed to, and then she can move that within your own process. I think we
think-
just give them a heads up.
Yeah, and a good point, because I think that they will see it, I'm sure, but we want to make sure, that's your point, is that we make sure this citizens committee will be aware of this.
Yes, because my understanding is a Coburg council only gets about 2 weeks' notice once they prepare the budget. So it's a bit of a different program this year.
Sounds like it's going to be an interesting process in Coburg.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Any other discussion on this item? All right, so I'll ask all in favor. And that's also carried unanimously. So that's it for new business. Other business, I have none. For question period, we haven't received anything in advance. So next we will go in camera. So we're not adjourning, right? We're just going straight to camera. Okay, so we will be going in camera. Do you need to turn off the live stream?
I do have to turn off thank you.
Would you like me to close the door for you?
Sure. Well, you're welcome to stay, but if you're uncomfortable, you can do.
Back.
Back surgery. Back surgery.
So it should be better.
Okay, so now next is an in-camera meeting. So can I have a motion to go in camera? Miriam? Seconder Adam? And all in favor for in camera? And that is carried. Okay, I'll just wait for Adam to return. Okay, so we've come out of camera, we've had some great discussion, and the recommendation that is proposed is that the Board of Directors receive the Ganaraska Forest Center Auxiliary Building Proposal Staff Report for information, and further that staff be authorized to move forward with awarding of the building design and construction oversight to SEMA plus C2 architecture. Yeah, I have a mover. Moved by Adam, seconded by Mark. Any further discussion? Okay, so I'll call all in favor. And any opposed? We have one opposed.
I couldn't see the opposed.
That was, Miriam. Okay, so that has been carried. Oh, Randy?
One further question, yeah, just, I should have perhaps asked it earlier. What's the build out here after awarding the contract? What are we looking at? 2, 3, 4 years, 1 year? What kind of a start? You know,
It's the end of September, roughly 2026.
is the build out? Or the
That's when it will
start?
be done.
Oh, it'll be done. Okay, okay. good.
That is
Thank you.
projected
Thank you.
according to their timelines.
Good stuff. All right, and that concludes the meeting for tonight. So, do I need someone to adjourn? I always
Yeah,
forget.
one person.
One person to adjourn. the
Yeah.
meeting. Who would like to adjourn tonight? Everybody wants to stay with us? a
We're
little
here all
longer?
night.
Anybody got
Mark.
the minutes?
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
All right, good night, everybody.
Good night. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
Yes, you too. If anybody would like to come now, we have